my Chevy Trax, and I'm about ready to drain the transmission fluid out of the transmission. And the first thing you need to do is remove this little protective shroud that goes over the transmission housing, because you have to get to that little bolt right there. And I suppose you could, but if by the time you drain the transmission fluid out, it'd be all over everything. So you have to remove this push pin, this screw, this push pin, and this bolt. And I think I should be able to pry it down far enough to take care of to get this shroud out of the way so I can drain the oil. So with that, I will proceed. These little screws here are, that one screw is a Torx head, so you gotta get a Torx head screw to take that sucker out. Which is this little number right there. And I forgot a screwdriver, so I'm going to have to go get one. Oh. 1 second. We're back. So right there is the drain plug for the transmission you have to take out, and I'm going to set it on top of my pan, on top of the little bucket, and hopefully we'll get that out of the way. Open that plug. It's 11. I believe it's a 11 millimeter. Yes. This plug here is an 11 millimeter drain plug. Okay, we're back. very short intermission. As we were talking before, I'm draining the oil out of the transmission and letting it drain really good. And while I was letting that happen, I decided, well, I thought I'd change the oil in the engine while I was at it and underneath the trailer here. And I'd like to get my hands on the brilliant engineer or the mechanic who tightened the heck out of the drain plug, the engineer who designed the drain plug, and or the technician who tightened the drain plug last time, because I tried to remove the drain plug, and as you can see, I was a bit, I've already loosened it up, and when I initially started to unloosen it, it's an 11 millimeter nut on the end of the nut, I guess you call it a nut, on the end of the drain plug. And I did everything you're supposed to do. I cleaned it off, tapped it a couple times to make sure it was not sealed too tight. Took my 11 millimeter wrench, multi-point, put it on the drain plug, and stripped the hell out of the nut. Would not come off. This is not the first time. I've had a Sonic which has the same setup. Went to change the oil on that, did the same thing. So I don't know whether it's a lousy drain plug nut they put on these things, or the guys that are changing the oil on these are tightening the drain plug up too much, and once it sets for a while, or it locks up. But it is a pain in the butt to get off. So what I've done, what I had to do is I tried chiseling. If you can see, I ended up taking the entire shroud that covers this area and the area by over the transmission drain plug. I took that off so I could get to it. First, I tried to take some vice grips and go on the large end of it, on the outer edge, and loosen it up. Wouldn't go. Then I took my chisel and tried chiseling this thing off. It wouldn't come off. And then I ended up taking the vice grips on the flat side of the bolts, and it finally came off. And what I've done is I purchased online a new one, which will take care of the torn up plug that I currently have here. So what we'll do here on the transmission, we'll forget about this for right now, but I just wanted to mention that to you while I was under here, and wanted to point out the problems. So if you go to change your oil, be very careful with taking your drain plug out, or it will strip out, and you'll end up having to go out and buy a new drain plug bolt. So, okay, it looks like the oil is pretty much totally drained out of the transmission. It's down to a couple drips. So what I'll do is I'll put the plug back in. And tighten it up. Don't want to over tighten it. You could strip this thing out too. That would be, strip the case out. That would be a very bad thing. Okay, take my stand away, and so what we have here is on the, on the bottom of the, let me get some light over here so you can see. On the side of the engine is in relationship to the, there's the drain plug, and right up there, if I can set the light down so you can see it and all that good stuff. There we go. Right up here is the side plug for the transmission, and it's a sight. It would be a sight glass if you could sight it, but you can't see down it. So what happens is you'll, after you've drained, and I drained about I've drained about 4.5 quarts out of the transmission, and the best way to do this is, and I've done this on the other cars that I've had, particularly Sonics, but it's the same setup, is you take this side plug out. I've added like 3 quarts of transmission fluid in, and it's Dextron 6. I'm using Castrol, but AC Delco makes it, but I chose to pick, use Castrol. Put about 3 quarts in, or until things start seeping out of the side hole right there, or once the plug is removed, and then put the plug back in, start the car up, run it, go through the gears, get the 3 quarts that you've got in there situated, and then continue to put, in theory, it's another, since I put 3, I'll probably end up putting 3 quarts in, run it through the gears, and then put the plug back in, fill it up all the way, another 1.5 quarts it should be, because I've taken out 4.5 quarts, so 3 quarts plus 1.5 equals 4.5, so put about 4.5 quarts back in, and then run it through the gears, take it out for a test drive, and the important thing is to have it level so that sight glass is, or the drain side plug is level, and that it will slowly drip out if the level is correct. If it pours out, then you've put too much in. So what I'm going to do is go to the top side and add some oil, and we'll go through the procedure real quick, like I just described. Okay, YouTube, we're back on the top side, and what I'm about to do is, this is the Dextron, or Castrol rather, Dextron 6 that I'm going to be putting inside the trans of the Chevy Trax. And I want to show you where the filler cap is for that, and it is down, if you can see my light. It is hidden nicely right down there behind the black cap, if you can see it down there. I'll take it out. It unscrews, and this is what it looks like. Put that up here, and we're going to put this. You have to have a flexible one because it is a bit of a curve to get past the hoses and everything, so you can see it down there a little better maybe, I don't know. Let's see here. There we go. You can see that. Try that. There we go. That's where the drain plug is, or the filler plug is for the transmission. So we will be adding that oil. And like I say, we're going to be putting about 3 quarts in, then we'll go below to check it. Okay, the cap's on, three quarts are in, back in, and I just thought I'd show you my setup. Makes it a lot handier if you have access to a trailer that has an open bottom to it, which is this. It works out nicely because the car is level on the trailer, so you've got it that way. Plus, you can always double check it. There's the level. Double check the bubble level this way. Basically level across there, and that's the important part. You want to make sure that the car is basically level so that when you open that sight plug, the car is level and the fluid will trickle out appropriately with the car being level. All right. So what I'll do is I'll start the car up and just shift it through the gears and try to get the level down. Okay, we are back underneath the tracks, and I try to put a light in here so you can see exactly what's going on. I have already started the car with it sitting here, ran through the gears, ran it for about 2 or 3 minutes, put it in park, neutral, reverse, drive, just sitting in one spot, and I'm about ready to remove the drain plug and see where we're at from a level standpoint. You can see right there is the plug is right there. I've got the socket on it, and I got an extension on it going through over here, so I can ratchet it over here. If we can pick that up, hopefully. Okay, as you can see, I've removed the plug, and there's nothing dripping out of the hole. So I'm going to try to replace it and put more fluid in it and see where we're at. They couldn't have put the sight glass in any more inconvenient spot. That's why they want to take you to the dealership and have all this maintenance done. So I've just snug this bolt up here just a little bit, and I'm going to go to the top side and add another quart and see where we're at from a level standpoint. Okay, I've just added one more quart, which makes 4 quarts I put in, and ran it through the gears again, started it up, put it through park, reverse, neutral, drive for about 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll check the drain plug again. Okay, no seepage yet. So put this back in, and we're gonna put another half a quart in, and I think then we'll drive it up and down the street and see where we're at. Taking the car up and down the road, about 10 minutes or so. Heated it up, got the transmission working real good. Came back here, ran it up on the car ramp and the trailer. And like I say, that works out real nice because the trailer is level and the car is level on the trailer. So got it back up here, got underneath, checked out pulled the plug out with the car running. Be sure when you top the thing off, to recap, after I drained it, put the plug back in, the drain plug back in, topped it off with 3 quarts with the drain plug open, and then I closed it up, ran it through the gears some more, shut it off, put another 1.5 quarts in it, and ran it up and down the street, came back, put it up on the ramps on the trailer, got underneath it, pulled the drain, the sight plug out, and checked it. With it running, you have to have it running, and with that running, it was started to just to seep out as I pulled the sight plug out, and so I put it back in and took care of it, and it's good to go. The one thing, if you're concerned about how much oil to put in it, because GM doesn't tell you anything, the best way to do it would, if you're concerned about how much oil you're taking out and putting back in, I would put it in a clean pan. When you drain the oil out, measure the amount of fluid that you put it back in. I usually have some old quart bottles laying around, and I fill up each one of those quart bottles up to the full line on the bottle, and with the oil that's drained out of the pan, and that way I know exactly what I've taken out, and then when I go to put the stuff back in, I'm pretty comfortable about how much needs to go back in, because it's going to equate to what exactly I took out, so I don't have to worry about underfilling it or overfilling it. That would be my suggestion. With that, I'll wrap this up, and as always, please subscribe, please like if you like this video, and if you have any questions at all, put it in the comments below and I'll respond. Once again, have a great day. Take care.